My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Spider-Noir. And I was excited for this show because I just love Spider-Noir as a character. A black and white version of Spider-Man, you know, more stealthy, more old fashioned, more campy. It's just a very unique take on an iconic character. And Into the Spider-Verse and especially Across the Spider-Verse are two of my favorite movies ever made. And I love Nick Cage's take on the character there. There was also a video game called Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, and my favorite sections were the Spider-Noir sections. So, I'm a big fan. It's cool he got his own show, and I'm happy to report that this show is really good. So, let's begin by talking about the cast. And Nicolas Cage is a real enigma. Sometimes he is really amazing. Sometimes he brings legitimate depth and emotion to his characters. Sometimes he's really over the top and silly. Sometimes he's really funny. Sometimes he's just awful. And this show has every one of those kinds of performances from him packaged into one character. Like, I've never seen a performance like this. I just haven't. He's like, sometimes it's slapstick sticky, sometimes he's great, sometimes he's bad, sometimes he talks like this. The voice he decides for Spider-Noir is just baffling, and I kind of love it. Like, it is just one of the weirdest, most bananas performances I have ever seen, and I loved every second of it. Then we've got Lamoni Morris, and he does a pretty good job here. Karen Rodriguez is perfectly fine. Lee Jun Lee, who I know as Lady Faye in Babylon, and first of all, I love Babylon. That movie got a bad rep, but it's actually amazing. And she does do a good job here. I like how her character goes in very unexpected directions, but she still feels consistent. She still feels honest. And I like how she's kind of a femme fatale character. Like, it is a really good performance. Not great, but really good. Brendan Gleeson, I love it whenever he shows up in any movie, whether it's Paddington 2, In Bruges, Banshees of Inisherin. What did I just watch? Was he in AI, the Steven Spielberg movie? Oh, I just watched that. Okay, yes, he was. Okay. Whenever I see him, I'm just, I like the guy. And he does a great job here. Everybody wants his approval. Everybody wants his respect. And he's just got the right personality for this character. I guess a good formula for good comic book shows nowadays is to get the cast of Banshees of Inisherin to play mob bosses. But Jack Houston, who I know from the Ben-Hur remake, and I think he was in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, he does a pretty good job here as Flint Marko. He's mean, he's brutal, but he can be a good guy, kinda, somewhat. Not the best written character, but his performance is good. Abraham Popola, he does a fine job, I guess. He plays the Tombstone character. Lucas Hayes, I really like him. He just plays this generic mob guy who works for Silvermane, but I actually thought he brought lots of personality to his character and he stood out despite his minimal screen time. Andrew Lewis Cadwell does a pretty good job, and Andrew Robinson does a very good job. I do like his performance. I don't want to give anything away about his character, but he's always convincing. So, Nicolas Cage, phenomenal, amazing, some of his best work ever. Everyone else, pretty good. And, well, okay, so you can choose to watch this show in black and white or in color. I chose black and white, and I couldn't imagine watching it in color. Like, this is not a big superhero show, it is a detective show. It's an old-fashioned show. So black and white just fits the mood so incredibly well. And it does look stunning. There are so many beautifully crafted moments. There's some really interesting CGI decisions. And I do think this movie is technically well made from top to bottom. And kind of like Nicolas Cage's performance, I just liked how much this show was. Like, it's really campy at points, it's slapsticky, it's legitimately really funny in some moments. It can also be disturbing, like there is just a touch of body horror here. There's one really intense and mean episode. So it's like every scene is trying to do something different, and I just appreciate the ambition here. By no means does this show ever feel safe. It's constantly doing new and interesting things. And I do like the story. There is kind of a mystery and there's lots of intrigue present. I like how we've got themes here about power and control and what it means to be a hero. Like, I'm just going to be frank, Spider-Noir is a piece of shit. This show begins and this guy is just, like, he's old, he's broken. He's the opposite of Peter Parker. Peter Parker, he's growing up, he realizes what it means to do the right thing. Spider-Noir is an old, out-of-shape guy who happens to have powers. He doesn't really make the best decisions. He always acts in his own self-interest. He's very questionable. And I do like the character arc he goes on throughout this show. I like how, it shows how corrupt people can be. I'm trying not to give anything away. It's difficult to talk about the themes when you're being so vague, but it is well written for the most part. But there is a time bomb element. Like, some characters could die at any point. And I do kind of wish the show focused on that a bit more. Like, I never actually felt like any of them were on the verge of dying. The show can drag at points, I guess. The action, do not watch this show for the action. There is some really cool web slinging and maybe a couple decent action moments, but it's not an action show. I think some of the side characters could have been written a bit better, and I actually thought the final episode could have ended on a stronger, more emotional note. So it is flawed. I do got some issues here, but I still really do like it. Like, it's just really interesting. It is. Like I said, it's weird and campy and disturbing and funny, and it's doing all of these weird things, and Nicolas Cage is fully going for it, and it's really well crafted. I love the opening theme. And yeah, it's just a good time. It was a very easy binge to get through. So I'm going to give Spider-Noir a 7.5 out of 10. I like also how the show plays around with the Spider-Man mythology. Like, he doesn't get bitten by a spider, and I don't want to give away what he does get bitten by. But you've got the Daily Bugle, you've got interesting takes on Spider-Man's villains. It feels like Spider-Man, but a fresh new take. But Spider-Noir, have you seen it? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin